Hi, it's Marina the Soul Alchemist, and it is time for Pick Your Own Card weekly guidance for the 14th through to the 20th of August. So if you've not had a chance to tune in, I want you to tune in to cards 1, 2, or 3. And I'm going to reveal the messages, themes, and energies that will support you over the next 7 days. I would encourage you to listen to all 3 cards because, as you know, they all weave into each other and they kind of create this whole complete tapestry and picture for you to really kind of connect in with and just use as guidance and as a way to navigate this next week. The bonus card is money and wealth, so stick around also to listen to that because you're going to get some information in terms of what's going on in that particular life area. Also, it's a new moon on Wednesday. It's a Leo new moon. Obviously, we've just come out of Lionsgate portal, which closes officially Saturday, Sunday. So there's going to be a period of integration in terms of, you know, the portal, the energies that you've been subject to and have been absorbing, whether you're conscious of that or not. And it's interesting because the Lionsgate portal does unlock codes of abundance, and it is a beautiful time to manifest. So money and wealth seems perfectly aligned in terms of the topic that we're going to be delving into. So if you have picked card 1, it really does demonstrate that kind of upgrade that we've just been going through with the Lionsgate portal and those energies. It's spiritual connection. And you can see the expansion in this card in terms of this female that's just kind of standing there, just and allowing herself to receive, allowing herself to connect and being very open and being very willing. And for some people, maybe being a bit vulnerable in their spiritual beliefs, in their kind of like opening themselves up to spiritual connection, because up until now, it might have felt quite dangerous on a very kind of like base level, which didn't make any sense. But it's like, well, I don't want to do this because I don't know what kind of energies are out there, or, you know, I don't want to be psychically attacked, or whatever, you know, whatever experience or story is and limiting belief was there. And so this week, if you've picked card 1, there's a real sense of safety and a more openness with connecting in with your spiritual support team, maybe connecting in with new guides, connecting in with the universe, and just being more open to spiritual connection, spiritual communication. You may also find that you're really wanting to maybe jump into some kind of psychic mediumship course, or open yourself up to spiritual courses, programs, learning of some kind. And that, you know, that can be through a book, it can be through starting to listen to a particular spiritual teacher on a podcast, finding, you know, particular meditations that open you up spiritually on YouTube, whatever it might be. There's this spiritual connection that is being enhanced, it's being amplified. New guides, as I say, perhaps coming in this week. Even your Claire gifts, it might be that you've been using your Claire gifts for a little bit and, you know, there's not been much progress with that. And this week you find that, you know, your clairvoyance or your clairaudience or your sense of knowing or your clairsentience, like your feeling, just seems to be amplified all of a sudden. And I would say that the Lionsgate will have something to do with that. But also, if you are regularly practicing, these things just start to evolve and they start to grow. So spiritual connection, you're going to see shifts there with your spiritual connection, a deepening of spiritual connection. If you are one of those people that isn't making any time for spiritual connection, then this card is a reminder that if you want to feel more connected, more balanced, more at peace, and want to have a deeper connection with yourself and start to create a deeper soulful self-awareness so that you can make these active changes in your life for the better, then spiritual connection and making time for spiritual practice is going to be something that you're going to need to introduce. And spiritual practice doesn't need to be sit around meditating. It can be an intentional walk in nature. It can be an intentional walk with the dog around the street, but the word is intentional. So what do you want to get from it? What do you want to maybe consider? Who do you want to connect with whilst you're doing that? And it might be connecting more in with your body, connecting in more with your heart, connecting in with a guide, your highest self. But this is about, making time and being a bit more devoted with your spiritual practice as well. So lots of messages within that, in that particular card. Do listen to the other two cards and the bonus, because it's just going to give you a more complete picture. And of course, if you want to go deeper, or you want to get your own pack of cards, your own deck, modality in a box, and play along with me each week, then click the links in the description below and you'll be able to enjoy those. It also comes with a masterclass and a key that you can use as a pendulum or a totem to activate healing. So if you've picked card 2, it's the Vows of Poverty. What I'm really getting with this card for this week is not so much about the poverty part. It's more about, what are you signing yourself up for that perhaps you don't want to? What have you signed up for that you want to actually step out of? And so these are agreements, these are declarations, these are promises that maybe are kind of like past their sell-by date, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be doing this really anymore. It's really draining my energy. I don't have time for it, or I've evolved, I've moved on. But I feel that there's some kind of oath or declaration or contract that I have unconsciously signed that's kind of keeping me in this position. And it's not, it's kind of like, it's a story that you're telling yourself, but I would be mindful of what you're saying yes to and what you're signing yourself up for, or what you have said yes to that you can now say no to. So this is a real kind of exercise this week, just to kind of see where you are putting your time and your energy, where you're putting your gifts and your focus, and is it serving you? Is it supporting the life that you want, the life that you're living, your relationships, your health, your wealth, your all of that, your spiritual connection, spiritual growth, evolution? Are the things that you're doing, the things that you feel that you're contracted, that you feel that you're responsible for, that you're expected to do, that you're obliged to do you really want to be doing all of those things? And it might be that you have to make a bit of an itinerary, a bit of a list, and actually look at all the things that you have a responsibility to, and that's you've signed up for that, and there might be something where you can actually tweak that a little bit so it feels less obligatory. But I bet you there's some things in there that you have signed up for, like subscriptions, subscriptions that you don't use anymore to groups that you just don't have time for, but there's an obligation to pay that money every month. And so when we look at that, that's like, well, that's obligation, and there might be an element of resentment that I'm paying for that every month and I'm not actually using it, but I've signed up for it and I feel like I need to continue to pay for it because I know the person really, really well, and if I say no, then they're going to judge me and it might mean that it's a bit awkward. This is what I want you to look at. Just look at all of the different bits and pieces where you're giving your time and your energy, or perhaps your money away. And are you in those things through obligation or through expectation, or do you have a responsibility? And it's a fair thing. You're happy to continue with that. And have a look at that and just see where you can tweak that, because with some of those things that you're tied into through a contract, through an agreement of some kind, you can actually break that. You have the power and you have the authority as being kind of the creator of your own life, to be able to step away from that. But are you willing to do that? Have you got the courage to do that? That's the thing that you need to ask for yourself. So see what you're tied into. Do you want to be tied into that anymore? And it could be, as I say, something that you pay for. It could be a relationship, a friendship, a job, a type of client, something that you're doing in your business that you don't really want to do, type of service, something that you're doing from a health perspective, in terms of a habit that you've tied yourself into that you don't really want to do. that you want to let go of, you know. So it might be that I've agreed to go and do this thing every Tuesday because my friend, you know, thought it would be a really good idea if we did this together because, you know, we're going to keep each other accountable, but actually it no longer serves you anymore. And it could be connected with health, you know, so you want to move on and do something different because you think that actually that's going to be better served for you, but you don't want to upset your friend. So just look at what you have tied yourself into, what you've agreed to that is no longer serving you, and what can you do to step away from that. This is time to step into your sovereignty and into your power, take your power back, and not have these contracts, these unwritten, unsaid, formally unsaid contracts that you are still upholding and feeling beholden to. And you don't need to, but it might take a bit of uncomfortableness and a bit of courage to step out of them and dissolve them. Once you do, you're allowing yourself a sense of freedom, and you're opening up new pathways for new things to come in, new ideas, new abundance, new wealth, new relationships, new friendships, whatever it might be. It's going to give you more time and space and energy once you let go of those contracts. So that's card 2. So something to think on, something to add to that spiritual connection, card 1, that we've already discussed. And as I say, if you want to go deeper, or if you want to get your own box, you know, your modality in the box, your own Akashic Oracle cards, then let me know. Or if you want to have your own one-to-one, you can start with me from, at the moment, £33 a month, and I'll support you for a whole year with 4 sessions. And that all includes Akashic record healing, insight, wisdom, and guidance. So reach out to me if you want to know a little bit more about that. Third card, card 3, weaves into cards 2, weaves into cards 1, gets us prepared for the bonus card, which is money and wealth. Self-sabotage. So this really does relate to card 2, but it also relates to card 1, because we're really good at talking ourselves out of doing the things that are aligned for us, that perhaps feel uncomfortable, that we know that change is on the other side, but we will do our damnedest to talk ourselves out of that change. We will really, you know, listen to the resistance and feel the resistance and obey the resistance, so that we don't move past our own way. We get in our own way. We don't move past ourselves because we fear what's on the other side. And so look at where self-sabotage is coming in for you this week. How are you resisting change? How are you resisting that card 2 of the things that you've taught, you know, that you've signed yourself in for, that you would like to, now you've got the awareness, get yourself out of, but you are still talking yourselves out of doing that. You're still coming up with the excuses or the reasons why you can't. And there will be a whole host of reasons. Where do you self-sabotage yourself? And this is, again, soulful self-awareness. Do you know what your self-sabotaging patterns are? For mine, I like to say yes to a lot of things, so I overwhelm myself. And in overwhelming myself and by saying yes to lots of things, I'm going to be very busy making sure that I deliver and I don't let people down and I do the best that I can. What it means is that I then don't have the time to spend on growing my business, for instance, or taking time off to have self-care and nurture and fill my own cup up. So I will say yes as a way to self-sabotage, as a way to avoid the growth, because for whatever reason, my ego is resisting that growth because I don't know what's on the other side of it. So it's easy to say yes and overwhelm myself and make sure that my time and space is filled with lots of stuff that then doesn't allow the growth activities to happen. The self-reflection, the downtime, it doesn't happen because I'm sabotaging myself with that. So that's just one way. Time might be yours, where you just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time for this. I don't have enough time for me. I can't put myself first because there's just not enough time. So you're using time as your self-sabotage. So we know that we can't make more time. We can bend time though, and we can flex time. But we have to prioritize our time, and it's where we put that priority and where we put ourselves on that list in some shape or form. So where are you feeling self-sabotage? Also, where are you feeling external pressure? Where are you allowing external pressure to build up? Where are you feeling overwhelmed in your experience, in your, the different life areas that you have? So it could be work, it could be relationships, it could be partners, it could be clients. Where are you feeling the overwhelm? It could be with your health and your energy levels, and just feeling like you've got too much on and you just can't see the woods for the trees. And it brings overwhelm, it brings confusion, it brings tiredness. How do you self-sabotage? How do you feel this external pressure? You need to breathe. You need to be able to see where that overwhelm is coming in and what the source of the overwhelm is. And so for me, get the pen and paper out and start to make a list of what is causing overwhelm, what is causing external pressure, where is it coming from? And just having that insight is then going to allow you to then see, well, how can I start to let some of this pressure go? Am I doing things that I don't really need to do, but I believe that I need to do because I think that I'm going to let somebody down, or I'm going to drop the plates and it's all going to be a catastrophe? Where can I let things go? Where can I ease the pressure valve? Do I need to ask for support so somebody else can take some of this pressure off me? Or do I just let some of those things go because I don't actually need to do them, but I've taught myself into doing them because I'm a perfectionist and I feel like I have to do that. Otherwise, people are going to think that I don't deliver a very good job. Where do you put your own pressure on yourself? Where are you allowing other people to put pressure on you? Where can you start to say no? So there's a lot of things that are coming through this week that are going to help us in the long run, in the medium term, long term, medium term. But we've got to look at some of this stuff in the short term to get the clarity. So we could then start to put things in place that are going to help the medium and long term, to help things ease up, to help the self-care, to help the abundance come in. But it's coming to a point this week where some of these things are just becoming very obvious. And unless we start to address them, or if we continue to avoid them, they get bigger and bigger. So this card is saying, you can't hide away anymore. You've got to look at this and allow yourself to look at it without judgment, without making it mean anything about you. Just do it in a very neutral space. And this is like, okay, I'm not going to judge myself for this. I'm just going to get practical. We need to sort this out. So let's get the pen and paper out. Let's get practical. Let's let go of the emotion. We don't need to kind of, we don't need to do anything with the emotion. It's just like, okay, we're going to get on with this. We're going to work through it and we're going to come up with some kind of plan, solution, just a step that I need to focus on. And that's all I need to focus on. That gives me clarity. That lets go some of the overwhelm. I'm going to just allow the other stuff to just disappear for a minute, or focus on this. And that will have you feel better. And then you feel a bit more motivated, a bit more energized. Oh, I can cope with this. This is okay. I'm working through this. I'm seeing some results. I'm feeling good. Then, we go from that space, I'm hoping this is making sense. I'm just channeling this through. So this is for all three cards. You can see how they all weave. Go back to this. How do I get my spiritual connection? How do I get my guides to support me with this? Getting awareness around the things that you've signed up for that you don't really need to do. Dealing with the overwhelm, where you're allowing external pressure or internal pressure to self-sabotage. And this all leads up to money and wealth. And I think all of these three cards all kind of filter into the money and wealth. And if you are looking at these pieces for your own soulful awareness, you're naturally going to break through some of the barriers, some of the beliefs, some of the behavior patterns that you have going on, the limitations, the sabotage, the procrastination, the confusion, the drama, the low energy, drains of energy. Just addressing some of this in the cards 2 and 3, and even card 1, naturally allows you to have a growth and up level, because you're breaking through the bits and pieces that have been keeping you in the dark. So you can start to see where you can maybe have additional opportunities to create money and wealth, or just letting go of some of this stuff that you don't need to be doing allows more abundance of time, abundance of love, of support, of health and energy levels. You're allowing that now to come in through this hole, because we're breaking that down, and abundance can flow to you in lots of different ways. Money can flow to you in lots of different ways, because you're not filling up your time with things that you don't need to be doing. And also lower frequencies of energy, of overwhelm, stress, tiredness, you know, that's what's creating guilt, shame. You know, I can't cope. I'm feeling really shameful. I can't cope. Feeling really guilty because I'm not doing all of these things, and I need things to drop. I need to let go of stuff. These are all low vibrational energies, which just attracts more things for you to feel guilt and shame about. But when you start to really address and start to let go of those things, so that you feel more freedom, feel more optimism, feel a bit more calm, feel a bit more peaceful, have a bit more clarity, guess what? That's what you're going to attract more of into your experience. And that's where the growth in the up level come. And money and the wealth is the byproduct of that. So it's not even really like you have to do anything for the money and the wealth. It's addressing these things in these three cards that allows the growth in the up level, and taking your income level or your wealth or your abundance or your prosperity. You're breaking through the walls, the barriers that you've had there, the limitations, the ceilings, the glass ceilings. You're breaking those down. So the growth and up level is natural. It's a part of the process, because you're dealing with the other stuff. So let me know how these cards land. If you want to go deeper with your own session, or you want to get your own Akashic Oracle card deck, the modality in a box, then reach out to me. There's links and bits and pieces in the description, probably in the comments as well. And I will also link a Akashic journey that specifically speaks to one of these cards also, that will help you just clear some additional stuff to support you this week. So have a fabulous week. Don't forget, we've got a new moon on the 16th. So use the new moon to also support you with some new moon intentions. Based on, you know, what we've talked about, there's a lot of intentions that you could set in order to help you work through releasing some of this stuff that you've got yourself tied up into. And let me know how you get on. So love and blessings, everybody. Have a beautiful week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.